continuation from the previous Excel 2021, we are going to have a look at formatting data, introduction to formatting, applying number formats in Microsoft Excel, applying font formats, changing cell alignments, applying cell style, copying formats, clearing formats, and finding, replacing formats.
Formatting a workbook makes the information easier to read and creates a professional impression. In this chapter, you will work with Excel's tools to format cells, align cell contents, apply styles, and copy formats. You will also use the Find and Replace feature to replace formats in cells. The budget workbook contains a lot of information, but the spreadsheet looks plain and the average numbers do not line up evenly. By default, Excel uses the general format in every cell of a new workbook. This format displays text and numbers without any specific formatting, like a generic format. You can apply different formats to the cells in the worksheet using the Home tab on the ribbon. Let's take a look. The tools in the font group enable you to change the font face and size of the contents of any cell. You can also apply enhancements, such as bold, italic, underline, and color. You can use the tools in the alignment group to control how the contents of a cell are lined up within the cell borders. The number group is used to apply formats to cells containing numbers. For example, you can add currency symbols and display numbers as percentages. The Styles group enables you to apply a predefined style to cells. Note that when you apply a format to a cell, the contents of the cell are not changed. Only the display of the cell changes. Let's use the tools on the Home tab to polish the visual elements of the worksheet. For your convenience, additional labels and numbers will be entered. Most of the numbers in this worksheet represent dollar amounts. To make that clear to the reader, you can add currency symbols to the numbers. Let's start by formatting the numbers in the Income section. The first step is to select the cells you want to format. The list box in the Numbers group is called the Number Format list box. It displays the number format of the currently selected cell range and can also be used to change the number format. Notice that the cell range you just selected uses the general format. Let's see what else is available. Here you see the most common number formats. An example of how your numbers will look with each format is displayed below each item name. The number format adds decimal places, but does not use any currency symbols. Let's apply the currency format. Good! Excel added dollar signs and 2 decimal places to each number. Notice that the column widths automatically expanded to accommodate the longer entries. In this example, decimal places are not needed because every amount is rounded to the nearest dollar. You can decrease and increase the number of decimal places using the decrease decimal and increase decimal buttons in the number group. Clicking the button once changes the decimal display by 1 place. Let's remove both decimal places from the selected numbers. The other buttons in the number group represent commonly used number formats, such as the currency format you just applied. Let's apply the percent format to the numbers in column G. These numbers show the percentage change from 2022 to 2023 for all income and expense items. Now that these numbers are displayed as percentages, their meanings are clearer to the reader. The blank cells that are part of the selected range have also been formatted with the percent style. If you later enter a number into one of these cells, it will be displayed using the percent format. Keep in mind that you can format a cell before adding contents. The tools in the number group do not represent all of the number formats available. The entire collection of number formats is accessible from the Format Cells dialog box. You can open this dialog box using the launcher in the lower right corner of the number group. Let's select the average numbers and then see what's available in the Format Cells dialog box. The Number tab in the Format Cells dialog box is now displayed. This dialog box contains other tabs which correspond to other groups in the ribbon. The advantage to using this dialog box is that all of the formatting options are contained in one place. The category list on the left shows all the types of number formats you can apply. The right side of the tab shows a sample of the number format and may include other options. The general number format is currently displayed because that is the format of the cells you just selected. Take a moment to view each category and then you will work with the accounting format. The accounting format is similar to the currency format, except that the dollar sign is always lined up along the left side of the cell. Notice that you can customize this format by selecting a different currency symbol or changing the number of decimal places. This format will work well for the average numbers because it will ensure that each number is represented with exactly 2 decimal places. Right now, the number of decimal places varies. Let's apply the accounting format using the default settings. Great! You've successfully applied the currency, percent, and accounting formats, making the numbers more meaningful. The font group on the Home tab contains tools to format the contents of any cell, whether it contains text, numbers, or dates. A font face is a set of characters that has a unique style, such as the Calibri font seen in this worksheet. Font size refers to the text size and is generally measured in points, as in the 11-point text seen here. Font formats also include text enhancements such as bold, italic, underline, and color. Take a moment to learn more about the tools in the font group by reading each screen tip. Some of the text labels in the worksheet are already formatted with bold enhancement. Let's apply bold formatting to some of the other labels. You can select multiple cells in a worksheet by clicking the first cell and then control-clicking the remaining cells. Good! Notice that the bold button in the font group now appears shaded. This indicates that the currently selected cells are formatted with the bold enhancement. Now let's change the font of the 3 cells containing the years from Calibri to Arial. Clicking the arrow on the font list box enables you to select a different font face. Now let's change the size to 16 points. You can use the font size list or just type a number directly in the font size list box. Notice that the row height was automatically increased to accommodate the new font size. Let's complete the formatting of these numbers by adding color. The font color list lets you change the color of the characters in a cell, and the fill color list adds color to the background of the cell. This looks good. You can experiment with more font formats using the Font tab in the Format Cells dialog box. Although you won't apply any more formats now, let's take a quick look at this dialog box. The Font tab in the Format Cells dialog box is displayed. The Border tab and the Fill tab also contain font tools. Look over the Font tab and then review the Border tab and the Fill tab. When you are finished, close the dialog box. In addition to applying font and number formats to cell contents, you can control how the contents are aligned within the cell. For example, the numbers in the selected cell range are aligned along the right side of the cell. They might look better if the contents were centered in each cell. The alignment group offers numerous buttons to change cell alignment. The icon on each button gives a visual description of how the contents will look. Let's apply the center alignment to the selected cells. Some of the alignment tools are also available on the mini toolbar, which is displayed with the shortcut menu when you right-click a cell selection. Let's use the mini toolbar to apply the center format to cell D1. The mini toolbar contains the most common tools from the font, number, and alignment groups. It is helpful when the Home tab is not currently displayed and you want to apply a format quickly. You can apply more than one format at a time. After you have selected all the formats, you can close the mini toolbar by pressing Escape. In addition to the center format, let's apply the italic enhancement. In addition to using left, center, and right alignments, you can vertically align cell contents along the top, middle, and bottom of the cell. By default, Excel aligns cells along the bottom of the cell. This is most obvious in cells F2 and G2, where the row height is larger. Let's align those cells vertically in the middle of the cell. Another way to align cell contents is to indent them from the left side of the cell. Let's indent the two income labels to set them apart. The Wrap Text button enables long text to wrap to multiple lines so that the contents are fully displayed. The entry in cell A18 is too long for the cell. One option is to increase the width of the column, but let's wrap the text instead. One way to add flair to your worksheet is to change the orientation of the text or numbers in a cell. The orientation refers to the order that characters appear in the cell, such as from left to right or from top to bottom. Let's add a new column and then display the name of the company from top to bottom. You will learn more about inserting columns later in this course. For now, use the Column A shortcut menu to insert a blank column. To prepare the cells in this column for a different orientation, you need to merge some of the cells. Merging cells creates one cell out of many. You have just created one large cell, which is used like any other cell. Now enter the company name, and then look at the different orientation options. Here you see different ways of rotating the text. Let's select the vertical text orientation. Good! Just like the other groups on the Home tab, the Alignment Group tools are located in the Format Cells dialog box. Take a look at the Alignment tab in the Format Cells dialog box, and then close the dialog box. A quick way to apply several formats at once is to apply a cell style. A style is a group of predefined formats such as font, colors, and borders. Excel offers several cell styles, and you can also create your own styles. The styles are accessible using the Cell Styles button in the Styles group. Let's apply a style to the total amounts in row 6. Here you see the built-in formats that Excel provides. The menu options in the lower section enable you to create your own styles. Each style consists of several different formats, such as a border and background shading. Moving the mouse pointer over a style displays a preview in the worksheet. Let's preview the total style and then apply it to the cells. Good! To get a better look at the formatted cells, you can deselect the cell range. Clicking any other cell cancels the current selection. The Total Style applied borders to the top and bottom of each cell and also added the bold enhancement. Once you have applied formats to cells in your worksheet, you can copy those formats to other cells. This can be quicker than manually formatting additional cells. The Format Painter in the Clipboard group enables you to copy the formats from one cell or range and then paste just the formats to another cell or range. Using the Format Painter is a three-step process. First, select the cell or range containing the format you want to copy. Second, click the Format Painter button. Third, select the cell or range to be formatted. Let's copy the format of the total cells in the Income section to the total cells in the Expenses section. Since all three cells contain the same format, you can just select one cell. Notice that the mouse pointer includes the paintbrush icon when it is positioned in the worksheet. This indicates that any cell you select will be formatted. Next, drag the mouse pointer across the cells to be formatted and then deselect the cells. Great! Now both total rows use the same formatting. After you select the cells to be formatted, the Format Painter is deactivated. If you want to format more than one cell or range at a time, you can double-click the Format Painter instead of single-clicking it. The Format Painter will remain active until you click its button again. Now, let's copy the format of the income numbers to the numbers in the Expenses section. You could use the Format Painter again to do this, but there is another way. You can use the Copy command and the Paste Special dialog box to copy and paste just the formats from one cell to another. Cell C4 is already selected, so use the Copy command and then select the cells in the Expenses section. The Paste Special dialog box is accessible from the shortcut menu for the cell range. You can also open the dialog box using the Paste Special command on the Paste menu. Clicking the arrow in the lower section of the Paste button displays a menu. Let's use that method. The top section of the Paste Special dialog box enables you to control the types of elements that are pasted into the selected cells. By default, Excel pastes all elements, which include the cell contents and formats. Selecting the Formats option tells Excel to paste only the formats and leave the current contents as they are. Good! The numbers in the Expenses section are now shown with the $ and no decimal places. Just as you can paste formats into a cell, you can clear just the formats, leaving the cell contents intact. When you clear a format from a cell, the general format is restored. The Clear Formats command is accessible from the Clear button in the Editing group. Let's practice clearing formats using the organically sewn cell. The Clear All command clears both the contents of the cell and all formats. The result is a blank cell using the general format. The Clear Formats clears only the formats, and the Clear Contents clears only the contents. Excel has cleared all of the formatting features from cell A1, including the merged cells and the vertical orientation. In this example, you want to keep the formats, so use the Undo command to restore the cell. Then remove the copied contents from the Office clipboard by pressing Escape. Next, you're going to work with formatting features using a larger workbook. For your convenience, the Weekly Price List workbook will be opened. The Find and Replace feature in Excel lets you locate a specific text or number entry in a workbook and then replace it with another entry. You can also use Find and Replace to locate a specific format within a cell and then replace it with another format. For example, you could search for all cells whose contents use a font size of 14 and then replace that format with a font size. The Find and Replace feature in Excel lets you locate a specific text or number entry in a workbook and then replace it with another entry. You can also use Find and Replace to locate a specific format within a cell and then replace it with another format. For example, you could search for all cells whose contents use a font size of 14 and then replace that format with a font size of 12. Another use of Find and Replace is to locate a specific text or number entry and then replace the entry with the same contents and a different format. Let's find all instances of the word excellent and then replace its cell format with the red font color. Start by opening the Find and Replace dialog box, which is accessible from the editing group. In this example, you are replacing only the format and not the text. So enter Excellent in both the Find What and Replace With text boxes. The Options button leads to the tools for applying formats. The upper Format button lets you specify formats to find, and the lower Format button lets you specify formats to apply as a replacement. In this example, you just need to use the lower Format button to enter the replacement format. The Font tab enables you to select the formatting for the replacement text. Let's use the color list to specify applying the red font format. The box to the left of the Format button now displays a preview of how the replacement formatting will look. The Within List box indicates that only cells in the current worksheet will be included in the search and replacement. Now you can choose to replace specific instances using the Find Next and Replace buttons, or you can automatically replace all instances using the Replace All button. Good! Excel has applied the red color format to all occurrences of the word excellent. In this chapter, you successfully formatted data by applying font and number formats, changing cell alignment, and applying styles. You copied formats using the Format Painter and the Paste Special dialog box, and replaced formats using the Find and Replace feature.